Right now, it's time for Meals with Monsignor. Look, Monsignor Billian is going to be joining us going over a recipe. Before he joins us, I want to let you know that recipe is already on the website, so you can follow along. Go to annunciationradio.com. When you get to the website, go to Morning Offering. You'll see it right there, recipes. Click on that. You'll see today's recipe, the first one listed. Good morning, Monsignor Billian. I can't wait to hear about today's recipe.
Hello.
Well, good morning, my Annunciation friends. Nice to be with you this morning as we continue to celebrate the wonderful season of Easter. And if you ever had second thoughts about whether Jesus thought eating was important, you just needed to listen to the gospel this morning at Mass as he fed 5,000 people.
Oh,
That's
amen.
right.
So while he might not have cooked the meal, but he made sure the meal was presented to everybody so they could enjoy it. So today we'll look at how we can prepare a little something that you can make for 5 people or 5,000 people. Just you need more quantity. That's it. We're going to do something I call the Billian Meatballs.
The Billian Meatballs, I like it.
I love it.
Now, granted, people in America associate meatballs and red sauce with Italians. Now, if you go to Italy, it's pretty hard to find a meatball anywhere. This is kind of an American construct, which some parts of Italy have taken over, but they would use all kinds of other meat rather than a ground meat and make these meatballs. But in America, that's what we do. So the one I'm making today is one that is based in my family experience, and I tested it just on Monday of this week to make sure I could kind of get the ingredient levels correct. Because Pat, I know, always likes a little bit of precision.
I know. Sorry.
In my recipes, and I never have any precision, so I made them on Monday to just see how close I could get to making, helping you figure out how much to put in. So the Billian meatballs.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We use 3 different kinds of meat in making our meatballs: ground chuck, ground veal, and ground pork. Each one of those meats brings a little distinction to the meatball, whether it's more flavor, whether it's the consistency, whether it's the kind of the rustic taste of the ground chuck. Those all 3 are important. In order to make it, we use equal parts. Need some eggs, some seasoned breadcrumbs, an onion, some seasoned salt, some seasoned pepper, some oregano, some basil, and of course you're going to need a tomato sauce, which we've made before on the show, in order to put the meatballs in the sauce. So we're not going to talk about the sauce today, just how to make those meatballs. So you have to be brave when you do this, and you have to touch it. You can't just use a spoon to get all of this done.
Right.
So you're going to put in your large mixing bowl, combine all 3 meats: the ground chuck, the veal, and the pork. I'm suggesting a pound of each. And then you're going to add some other ingredients to it. You're going to finely chop an onion. You're going to put a couple cups of seasoned breadcrumbs, 4 eggs, and then a couple teaspoons of Lowry's seasoned salt, a couple teaspoons of Lowry's seasoned pepper, couple teaspoons of dried oregano, a couple teaspoons of dried basil. Now, all those quantities can be up to your taste.
Oh.
So you might start at this level, but you might taste it before you finish the meatball and say, it needs a little more salt, or I'd like a little more basil in mine. That's perfectly okay. You don't have to stick to the quantities. This is just the best guess I can give you as I prepared them this last Monday.
Okay.
So you have all of those, the meat, the onion, the breadcrumbs, the eggs, and those seasonings in the big bowl. Then you have to use your hands to mix and combine all of them together. You don't want to overdo this, because if you overdo this and squish all the meat a lot and put it all together, you're going to end up with a very dense meatball. And you don't really want to make sure that it's going to be so tight that it's going to be hard. You want a little looseness in it. So use your hands until all of it is combined. Don't overmix it. And then you need to shape those meatballs in your hand. Again, you kind of pack them a little lightly, roll them around in between your 2 hands. Now, I make a Billian meatball is not a modest meatball.
Yeah,
The
2 to
Billian
3
meatballs are the size of baseball. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta cook those a long time then.
Hey, just listen to the whole thing before you start criticizing Odie, okay? All right.
All right.
They're the size of baseballs, okay? So you're going to about 2 to 3 inches in diameter. And unlike other people who might tell you, oh, you have to fry those or you have to bake those, don't do that. You're going to drop those raw meatballs into your tomato sauce. Okay? Your tomato sauce is going to be hot. You make sure it's good and hot, not bubbling over boil, but good and hot. And you drop those meatballs into your sauce one at a time as they go in. And then you'll find, because the sauce is hot, the outside of the meatball ends up being good and sealed then with the heat. And then you let it cook in there for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then you're able to boil up some good pasta, the kind of pasta you like, pour some of that sauce, and one meatball. All you need is one meatball per person when you've got a baseball-sized meatball.
Yeah.
But don't stir the sauce too vigorously after you just drop the meatballs in, okay? Because you might just bust up the meatballs. Because remember, they're not cooked yet.
Right.
And they take a couple minutes to cook on the outside. Then you can start stirring the sauce with the meatballs in it. So that's a great way to enjoy a single meatball dinner with a little pasta. Some people just like to eat the meatballs plain. They don't need the pasta, whichever is favored to you. But again, just a quick note I put on the bottom of the recipe. Once you get all those things together and the meatball seems to be a little too moist, you can always add some more breadcrumbs to it. You don't want it super dry, but you don't want it so moist it's falling apart. So, and the longer you leave that meatball in the sauce, the better your sauce is going to taste, and the better your meatball is going to taste, because the tomato sauce will help to create the taste of the meatball, and the meat will help to better the taste of the sauce. So they have to kind of live together for a little while to really enjoy it completely. It's an easy recipe, not too tough. Again, you can be free in the level of those spices you put in there, depending what you like, and enjoy it. It's a wonderful way to enjoy this time of year as well during this Easter season. Eat a good hearty meal. That's what Jesus wanted us to do.
So, Monsignor, if you use, let's say you want like a spicier taste to your meatballs, so you might use, a little spicier kind of thing that gives a little hotter flavor. By cooking it in the tomato sauce for an hour, does that affect the taste that you're trying to give it when you make it?
Well, if you put the spice in your meatball and cook the meatball in the sauce, your sauce is going to take on that taste as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
I make sure, if you're going to play with hotter spices, make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure you know the quantity, because sometimes we can start things with a certain quantity of spice, and after it cooks, it gets more intense, some of those spices, so you don't want to overdo it too much, or else the hotter spice will take over the taste of everything. Because you want to enjoy the different flavors that the meat bring, the different flavors of the onions, the breadcrumbs have that Italian seasoning in it already, so you have those flavors. So you have some good flavors there.
Right.
But if you want to spice it up a little bit, Pat, a little more Lowry's seasoned salt and Lowry's seasoned pepper will give it that extra taste.
Okay, great.
Sounds delicious. Oh, wow.
Woo! Thanks, Monsignor.
Thank you, Monsignor Billian. Again, you can
You're
find the
welcome.
recipe, Annunciationradio.com. Go to Morning Offering, go into the recipe tab, and it'll be right there at the top.
Yeah, just click on See Recipes, and man, I'm hungry. I want
know.
meatballs.
2 to
Give
3
me
inch
meatballs.
meatball.